Welcome to the Healthpreneur Podcast. My name is Uriel Kame, New York Times bestselling author, former professional athlete, and founder of Healthpreneur, the world's leading company helping health and fitness experts start and scale high-end coaching businesses. If you want to attract more clients, learn how to convert them without feeling salesy, and deliver an amazing program for them on the back end, if you want to be inspired by what others just like you have gone through and how you can do the same no matter what life throws your way, then you are in the right place, because every single week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to be bringing you the best to help you take your knowledge and expertise to the next level with your health or fitness coaching business. And if you enjoy what you see and hear and would like to take your business to the next level, then I invite you to check out our free online training over at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. And for now, let's get into today's episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Yuri here. Really pumped to have another special guest with us today, Dr. Ian Rainey. How's it going, my friend? Welcome to the Healthpreneur Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, totally. So I think our listeners and viewers really like this segment because it's kind of like they're a fly on the wall, getting to take in a lot of the wisdom that's going to come out of this conversation. So before we jump into what you need help with over the next 20, 25 minutes, tell our viewers and listeners who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Okay. All right. So I'm a chiropractor. I'm from Ohio, and I love the water and I love the warm weather. So I moved to Florida and opened a chiropractic clinic here. My mom has owned a health food store for about 40 years.
Wow.
So I grew up around health and nutrition my whole life. Back in Ohio, I was working for a friend of mine part-time. And at that office, we were seeing about 800 people a week. It was a very high volume clinic. So I didn't have any time to do the nutrition that I enjoyed doing. I did a lot of muscle testing, applied kinesiology. But there was a medical doctor who was getting all my chronic patients well. He was using lab work, functional blood chemistry, introduced me to that. So I incorporate that into my practice a lot. But since then, being here in Florida, I've opened a weight loss clinic. So I do weight loss and chiropractic, but I really love the weight loss because it's a doorway for me to really get to work with a lot of people who, they just have health challenges, and that's a good starting point. And once you get their confidence, then that opens the door for, do you want to do functional blood chemistry? Do you want, where do you want to take your health? So I really like that because it's, most people want to lose weight. It's just,
it is what it is.
The way that, yeah.
That's great. Oh, awesome. Thanks for the intro and the insight. So Ian, what specifically can I help you with over the next 25 minutes or so with your business?
That's that could be a loaded question. So really what I'm struggling with, I'm scaling Facebook ads, and with the weight loss, I have a program, I've got an app. I get great results in the office. I could bring you in here one-on-one, and I've got a great salesperson that her whole mission is to help, kind of transform, the health of people around her. She used to sell pharmaceutical sales, hated that, quit it, and just, she's like, I will never do that again. So now her mission is to kind of do the opposite. So in the office, we can close people on a weight loss program, no problem. We charge about $1,500. But I'm struggling online. I've got a program that I want to turn in, take it from a done for you to a group coaching program, which I'm kind of doing group coaching in the office, but I want to be able to expand this program beyond my market. My goal really is to, try to get at least 10, new signups per day. In order to do that, I got to get my Facebook ads scaled, and I got to do some, nice. I've been testing since October, and what's really caused me trouble has been just getting people on the phone. I've followed, I've just done a lot of different things, but it's just getting people on the phone.
Sure.
I'll make 20 appointments and one or two people will show up, and that's where I'm struggling.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you for the context. So you can see this white piece of paper, I guess, on the screen there. So just making sure that's showing up properly. So give us a rundown right now of what the funnel looks like. So you're taking people from Facebook ads, and then just give us a rundown of what happens. Do you
want me to screen share, or do you want to?
You don't even have to. I can just sketch this out, and then we can look at.
Okay. So I run a Facebook ad, And it's literally just a single image. And I've tried a lot of different pictures, and the one that seems to work the best I'm using is just a picture of me and my girlfriend, in the office. And what I started doing was funneling people to a free case study. And that was the text that I was using. And so they'd go to a landing page with a picture of me. It looked pretty much just like this. And then it says, click here to learn about the top 10 things that my weight loss program does. And, I list like a couple other things that, the top things that celebrities do to help manage their weight. And, I've just got a couple pros about it. Then they go to the next page, then they watch a 20-minute video. Mm-hmm. And I've tried using a 6-minute, I've tried using a 20-minute. And that video, I tried doing a PowerPoint presentation. And most recently, I've just been doing like a live video of myself. And after they watch that video, then they go to the calendar to schedule a call with me. And then once they've scheduled that, then they go to a survey, which tells me a lot about their health. And then once they fill out that survey application with all the questions regarding their health, what their weight loss goals are, what they've tried that's worked, what hasn't, then after that, I get all that information and I'm ready and prepared for the call. And then I have text and email reminders going to them.
Cool. Awesome. Wicked. All right. So we briefly spoke about this via Facebook Messenger a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I think this is a really good funnel. So this is similar to what we help our clients with. Mm-hmm. Facebook ad, some type of video presentation, and then obviously getting people to book a call. The thing I like about this is that it gets people to jump through hoops, right? Which is really important because a lot of people talk about like higher conversions and so forth. And yeah, you could throw a lead magnet, like a free book or a free download, and you'll get higher opt-ins, but you're probably going to be getting less show up on the phone calls. That's something we've seen pretty consistently over the years. So getting people to jump through these hoops is really important. And obviously it's challenging when you book. So on average, before we go any further, what are the rough percentages at each of these stages? So from Facebook ads, how many roughly opt in for the case study / video?
Ooh, let me get those numbers for you real quick here.
And I love how you have the data. It's really helpful. As I say all the time, marketing is psychology and math. That's all it is.
Yeah. So let's just go like lifetime average here. And so let's just pick something that, so like say out of like 9,000 impressions, or I reach about 9,000 people, somewhere in there, it's costing me about $20 per 1,000 impressions, but my click-through rate is like 2.5%. It ranges from like 1.3 to like 4.5%. So
awesome.
Pretty good click.
Honestly, like anything over 1 is really good. So that's good.
Cost per click, we're running between 30 cents to like some really bad ones are like $4, but the majority of them were running around $1.50 per click. But I was using the word weight loss. I was using weight management. And I found out when I took those out and just made it simple, like cost per click, dropped tremendously. So out of like, 1,800 people, I would get like 30 clicks. And then like, depending, like my best would be like 15 people who would opt in. So they'd go to my landing page. Mm-hmm. So I'd have like a 50% conversion rate on the landing page. That's my best.
Yep.
But anywhere from like 30 to 50%.
Cool.
Kind of what I've been seeing, which is surprisingly good, I thought.
Yeah, that actually it is really good considering, and your ad is pretty short, right? I remember seeing the ad copy itself.
I tried a long one that actually worked pretty good, but the most recent one, is just a short, very simple. So I'm not filtering as much probably as I should be.
No, it's okay. That's good. So 30 to 50% opt-in on that page. So then they go watch the video, which is about 20 minutes, you said ish.
Yeah. But I had originally done a video that was a PowerPoint presentation. Mm-hmm. And when I actually went through and looked at the stats, nobody was watching it. Like really nobody was watching it.
Okay.
And so they would just skip through the video and go down to the bottom and say, oh, let's get on a phone call with him and we'll schedule our appointment.
Yeah.
But I don't think they were really that well qualified.
So then of the people who opt in for the video, how many of those people book a call with you, percentage wise, roughly? So let's just say we had a bundle of 100 people. What percentage of 100?
Out of 100, we may get probably around about 8 people out of 100 would complete the application and book a call.
Cool. All right. That's really good. So, and then obviously the issue is that those 8% are not necessarily showing up on the phone.
Yeah. So then you're dwindling that down, maybe out of 10 or 20 people, you get 1 or 2 to actually show up for the phone call. Even when they text, even if they, respond, I'll be there. Yeah.
So this is an interesting, this is something we deal with all the time because, and I think depending on who you speak to, you might get different perspectives on this, but this is something that I've just noticed having done this for 14 years is that, and I don't know if you've read the book Influence or Persuasion by Robert Cialdini, 2 tremendous books on marketing and human psychology. But one of the things, and one of the reasons that we went pretty much all in with this type of funnel was that it just made sense to me because, in my health and fitness business, we have probably hundreds of funnels that are lead magnet, checklist, $7 offer, upsell flow. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And the quality of those leads was incredibly poor. Mm-hmm. And this was confirmed to me about a year ago. One of our mastermind members, when she first joined our mastermind, we actually had known each other for years prior to that. And she had built her business online using $10 ebooks, $27 a month membership sites. And she had this list of about 8,000 people. And she was just burnt out by doing that. So she was training clients in the gym and she wanted to get away from that and really move online. And I said, listen, based on what you love to do, you need to be coaching clients at a high level online in a group format to have more leverage. And I said, before you even run Facebook ads, let's just get this pipeline set up and run it to your list internally and see what happens. Okay. And lo and behold, she ran it through her list and she didn't have one single person enroll from that list. She had a couple of calls booked, but the quality of those people was so low because that list had been cultivated over months and years of low-priced junk on the front end. Yeah, yeah. She ran her Facebook ads, and within 1 week, she had qualified people on the phone enrolling with her. And that's all because now she was using different bait to go fishing for the right people on Facebook. And that's really what's important to remember here is that when you're looking at, there's a couple things here, right? So I talk about this a lot where we have 3 overlapping things going on. We got number 1 is your market, right? Mm-hmm. Number 2 is the message that they're seeing. And number 3 is the magic. The magic is essentially your offer. The offer needs to be something really compelling, something that they've really never seen before that's going to get them excited about, possibly working together. So once all 3 of these are dialed in, that's really where you start seeing high conversions. Yeah. And the thing here, though, is that when the conversions are not where you want them to be. So for instance, you have 20 people book a call and let's say 5 people show up, right? That's an issue. So what a lot of people think of is they think, well, my webinar is the issue. My presentation is the issue. So I'm going to change all of that. And that may or may not be true. But the thing that I try to get our clients to think about is that any problems down the pipeline starts upstream, right? So we need to look at, if we're getting a low show up rate here, we need to look at who are the people we're inviting to the party in the first place. And that's why we really have to start with what's happening on the Facebook side of things. Okay. And that's going to be a combination really of the market and the message and the magic, right? So it's really all you can't have just one working well and the other 2 are so-so. If one is off, it's like walking 10 dogs, but 2 of the dogs are walking the opposite direction, right? It's going to be challenging. So when we look at our Facebook ads, we need to consider a couple things. We need to look at the audience, right? So that would tie into the market. And when we look at that, under an audience, we need to look at, is there a major pain or problem that they have? Obviously, in our case, there is. They want to lose weight. The other thing too is just really narrowing down. This is a problem I see a lot of people make, is for men and women who want to lose weight, right? As an example. And I really feel that the more narrow and niche you can go, the better off you're going to be.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is as you narrow down your messaging in your market, this cost per click is actually going to increase. And I look at cost per click as a predictor of the quality of leads coming into your funnel. So if your cost per click is $1.50, I'm going to make an assumption that the quality of those leads is fairly low. But if the cost per click goes up to $4, $5, $6, even $8, now we're getting people who are much more committed. And in our business, we get cost per click up to $14 in some cases, which is just, like, for most Facebook advertisers doesn't make sense at all. But all that matters is the overall return on ad spend.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to look at two things specifically here. Number one are the audiences. And number two is the ad copy itself. Because I think you using an image of you and you mentioned your girlfriend, was it? I think that's tremendous, because the images we use on social need to be social, which means, is it a picture you would post on your Facebook profile type of thing, right? Just keep it supernatural, something people would not see as, oh, this is a blatant ad.
Yeah.
So you have the image down. I think that's great. And then obviously you can test different images. But I think the ad copy is really, really important, because what we found to work really well in our business, as well as with hundreds of our clients, is really long copy. And copy to the point where people actually comment in your ads to be like, dude, why is this so long? You know, and it's like, this ad is not for you, right? It's for the person who doesn't leave stupid comments like that. It's for the person who gets sucked into a very compelling story or message that they can relate to, and they see that you are the authority to solve this problem. And as a result of that, they've maybe spent, 2 minutes reading something on Facebook, as opposed to just continuing scrolling. Yeah. That's a big, big commitment for most people on social, right? So it's it's almost counterintuitive, because what we're looking to do is actually get fewer conversions, but higher quality compared to, what most people talk about. And going back to Cialdini's books on human psychology and persuasion and influence, in influence, he talked about a really important psychological tendency we have, which is called commitment and consistency. So if somebody reads an ad that is 2 sentences versus, let's say, 10 paragraphs, which one do you think is more committed to the process?
Yeah, the one who can idealize with, the long copy, and they say, oh, that's me. Yeah. And so it's not that there's, again, it's not like as a blanket statement, like you should always have long copy, but we've been running this for a long time, and every single one of our ads is very long. And there's a reason for that. We've tested short copy. We've tested, get to the point type stuff, and it just doesn't get the results that we want. Gotcha.
So it's different. You also have to think about, like, what is the ultimate offer, right? Because if someone's offering like a $10 ebook, okay, there's no big commitment there. Yeah. But if you're getting people on the phone, you're enrolling them at $1,500 a piece, there's a commitment in terms of their time and their money. And we want to start that commitment from day one with what they see right in their Facebook newsfeed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I obviously we'll talk about this in Toronto, and we'll give you specific templates and stuff for this. Just for everyone listening, Ian's coming to our mastermind in Toronto, which will be a lot of fun. So obviously we'll look at really honing in on that ad copy, but I do believe that longer ad copy that is story-based is going to do much better than something shorter.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That's helpful. Yeah. Good. Well, yeah. And it's interesting. You'll see something like a really cheap weight loss program. I'm trying to think of like Noom or, one of those other programs that's, marketing to the masses. Theirs will be short, but they're selling something that's, like a free trial or whatever.
Exactly. And this is really, really important. And this is why it's kind of, we live in a great world where there's so much at our disposal, but it's also very dangerous, because even if you look at websites like Ad Espresso, right? Which
Uh-huh.
is a great website for Facebook ads and marketing strategies for Facebook. They'll
Hmm.
show you like the top Facebook ads, based on their opinion. And
Yeah.
every single one of those examples is from one of these SaaS companies or
Uh-huh.
a free trial offer where it's one sentence
Yep.
and then click now. And it's
Hmm.
very deceiving if you
You
are
just show
running
'em.
a different business to think that's the way I should do things,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like you have to put your blinders on. And at the end of the day, all that matters is testing things, right?
Yeah.
So if you have an idea for, here's one idea, let's test it versus this one, whichever one performs better, that's great.
Yeah. Well, that's
Um,
why I reached out to you, because you've been doing this for a long time, and I knew, there's only so much time, and I'm tired of wasting time.
yeah,
So, time and money.
yeah,
But
for sure. So the other thing to think about in ad copy, and this is
hmm.
something that we talk about with our clients a lot because they do, and depending on the market, we've got clients that get a very high volume of calls. And then sometimes they find that the quality of those prospects are just not that great. So they're getting a show up, like they're getting the people on the phone, but they're like living on food stamps or
Yeah.
something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So this
That's
goes
what I'm
back
getting.
to, like, if you think of, we can call this a funnel, we call this a pipeline, but the other way to think of this is a filter,
Hmm.
right? Don't just think of a funnel as a funnel, think of it as a filter. So in your Facebook ad, there should be, and it doesn't have to be overt, but it should be suggested at
Like
some
how many?
level that this is for these types of people and not these types of people.
Hmm.
And this is where you have to do a little bit of thinking about, for instance, in our ad copy, we're not going to say, this is only for health professionals who have money. Like that's like, you're not going to say that, right? We would say something to the effect of, this is for health professionals who have hit a plateau and are tired of, trying to dig themselves out of a hole and have hit their wits end type of thing, right?
Hmm.
So we're trying to, they have a vision that is bigger than what they're currently living, et cetera. So there's ways of adding in qualifiers in your ad copy that are going to disqualify the wrong people and hopefully attract the right quality people.
Okay.
As an example, you could say something like, this case study, this training is for you if, your idea of a fun Saturday is hanging out at Whole Foods for 2 hours. Like
Uh-huh.
when you think of the psychology behind that, it's like someone who hangs out at Whole Foods probably has a bit more disposable income, probably is a bit more health conscious,
Yeah.
so thinking along those types of terms.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so there's ways of disqualifying people in the ad because you don't even want those people in your funnel who are not going to be good quality on the phone anyways, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Good. Good. Okay.
yeah. So is that good so far on the ad copy side?
That is. Yeah. Yeah.
So second thing is audiences. Talk to me a little bit about your audience selection right now with your Facebook ads.
Well, I've tried. Let me show you let me look at the last audience. I was, let's see if I can find it. So, you're targeting the whole country. So, if you're doing weight loss, you've got 58 million people that, could be interested in health and fitness. So I tried to narrow that down to, people who are interested in, Dr. Axe or Dr. Oz, and I would filter it down. And I seem to get a little bit better quality leads with that, but still not there. I'm still getting a lot of people who, they're working in they're working as a CNA making $9 an hour in like the rural area of Alabama or Louisiana or West Virginia.
Yeah.
And, if I'm trying to sell them a $1,500 program, they're like, or one person, her husband was in prison. She had PTSD. My filtering process is not where it should be. And I tried running the ad locally because, I'd run my lipo laser ad, just get people in the door. That would work great. And then I could, have a chance to educate them. But running that ad locally, I wouldn't get anything. So it's like Facebook was picking from 58 million people and picking the low hanging fruit, that are sitting at home. They're like, sure, I don't have, I've got all the time in the world.
Yeah, totally. And that's, yeah, it's challenging, but it's also nice at the same time because it helps you hopefully quickly identify, all right, something is not right here in terms of the targeting or the message. Let's turn it off and, pivot a little bit. So there's, one idea in terms of audience selection is you could target geographically. So for instance, you could target West Coast only, right? You could target East Coast only and stay away from the middle of the states, just as a general stereotype, right? You could try that. You're going to pay a little bit more, but again, maybe you're getting a slightly more progressive, health conscious individual. That's one idea. Other things too with audiences, like there's obviously like, the celebrities and authorities like the Dr. Axes, Dr. Oz, et cetera, which I think are great to test because it's definitely worthwhile. You're going to be tapping into more health conscious audiences. Another way to think of it too are the behavioral psychographics. So if you think of, and again, this is just something you have to test, is what are brands or things people associate to that might indicate they have a little bit more disposable income. Now, just as a disclaimer, just for everyone watching and listening, I'm not saying we're only targeting people who have higher affluence, right? But it's something worth testing. So if you were to think of, a handful of brands that might indicate someone has a little bit more affluence, what brands might those be?
I was going to say Apple, like iPhone products.
Yep.
But when I think about that, I just have trouble diving deeper and saying, okay, where's the next step? Where do we go with that?
Sure. So you could think of Apple, because the thing to remember is that people who buy Apple products might be overweight, right? And some of them might be health conscious, and some of them might be a really good fit for your program, right? Another couple brands might be Mercedes, BMW, Porsche, Four Seasons hotels, Ritz-Carlton, stuff like that, right? Because because they like Mercedes or Titleist or golf as a sport, for instance, right? If someone likes or has an interest in those brands, it tells us they might have a little bit more disposable income. But second is, let's say we put your message in front of people who are interested in Mercedes, who like Mercedes. Not everyone who drives a Mercedes is fit and healthy. Correct. At the same time, there's probably a percentage of them who are overweight and who are actively going to a gym or who are eating well or who are health conscious. So we can put an ad in front of those types of audiences, and the ad is now going to attract out of that audience the right people for your pipeline.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
So, and again, like I'm not saying that like, hey, Mercedes audiences are the best, because it depends on the offer, depends on so many different factors, but it's worth testing. And that's the key with this whole thing is you just have to continually test different ideas and concepts.
Yeah.
I was at a mastermind that I'm a part of, and a couple months ago, one of the guest speakers was a gentleman from Australia who runs, well, at the time, probably now more, $5 million a month with this type of funnel. Okay, so Facebook ad, webinar, he actually ran two versions of it, one going to directly on the phone, another one was to book a seat for a live event. But it was about 2.5 million on the phone, 2.5 million in the live event per month. Okay, and he was showing us his screen, and he kind of oversees the team that does all this. But what I noticed in their ads manager was they must have had thousands of different ad variations and audiences running. And again, that's very overwhelming for the average person to manage. But the idea is that we just want to throw a bunch of stuff up against the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Have a theory. Let's test it. Does it work? Yes. Does it, if it doesn't, we move on to something else. And that's really the key to cracking the code is you have a hunch that this might do well, give it a shot. If it does, great. If it doesn't, you try something else.
Yeah. Wow.
Does that make sense?
I can't imagine the old way of marketing where people just put up a billboard and throw out money and don't really even get that much feedback.
Yeah, totally. Awesome. So what's been most helpful for you so far from this conversation?
I think the audience targeting, because I knew I couldn't target by income. I think there may still be that option, but it doesn't, from what I've heard, doesn't really work. And, and I just wanted to make sure that I was getting people who, either had a disposable income or were willing to invest in something that was important to them.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I think, the audience selection is important. Ad copy can obviously filter people out just based on what you say in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part and parcel of just getting better with writing copy, right? In some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
Yeah.
Because, the difference between one ad and another could just be a better version of a better written copy, right? And that can make all the difference. So,
Good.
Cool. But here's the thing is like, honestly, man, you're one or two tweaks away from a big breakthrough on this.
Yeah. I feel like I'm so close. It's like, oh man, and I'm fortunate. I'm at a point where I have the office has been pretty successful. Like there's been, I don't know if you're familiar with Florida, but there's auto injury here, and per adjustment, the income you get from an adjustment is much higher for someone who's been into an injury or car accident. The insurance just pays better. So as a result, it's been kind of funding my funnels here to figure this out. So if I would have run out of money, I'd be, up a creek, but.
Yeah, totally. And it's nice to start like that, but obviously you want the business to fund itself,
right?
Because you don't want to take from Peter to give to Paul as type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think, just kind of bringing this full circle, cleaning up the ad copy a bit, audience selection. I don't even think you have to do anything within the middle of the funnel. I think just on the front end for now, just getting that refined a little bit will hopefully get more people showing up on the call.
Okay.
And the final thing I'll mention really quickly is whatever criteria you mention in the ad, you just want to make sure that is stipulated again in the training, like on the video.
Okay.
To say like, this is for you if you meet these criteria, and it's not for you if you don't meet these criteria.
Okay.
Right. So there's congruency from the front end as well as now middle, and now obviously the right people will, continue on.
Okay.
So,
good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Awesome. So what is your one action step from this conversation?
My one action step is to start with the front end, and I'm going to tweak the audiences.
Cool.
I'll keep I did have a long copy ad that performed, fairly well. I would say, it was running like $50 to $1.50, but it was very clear. It was like my whole process of what I've done for the last, 5 years to get to where I am now to be able to help people and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I'm going to make sure I use that, but I'm also going to start to, target the audiences, and I'll use a lot of different angles. So I have a program I can run.
Wicked. And obviously I'll share some more goodies with you in Toronto. So I'll keep our viewers and listeners in suspense. So
yeah, I've been looking forward for that for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So Ian, thanks so much for opening up the kimono here, giving us a little bit of an insight into what's happening in your biz. For all the viewers and listeners, hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you want more help with getting clients and growing your coaching business, the next step, go to healthpreneurgroup.com/training. And ironically or not ironically, you'll be going through a very similar process as what we've described here. So you'll just watch our training. If it resonates with you, then you can book a call with us. And if it doesn't, that's totally fine. But again, thanks for joining us today. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us on this episode of the Healthpreneur Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, here's what I'd like you to do right now. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the Healthpreneur Podcast on iTunes. And while you're there, leave us a rating or review. It helps us get in front of more people and change more lives. And if you're ready to start or scale your health or fitness coaching business and want to start getting in front of more people, working with them at a higher level without trading time for money, then I invite you to check out our free 7-figure health business blueprint training, totally free right now. And you can do so at healthpreneurgroup.com/training. For now, thank you so much for joining us. Continue to be great, do great, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.